If you want to check out different content from myself, I've just set up a second channel where I'm going to post fitness and things. The link for that will be in the description. And of course, if you want to avoid the random lottery of FIFA points, you want to go straight to the source, buy the players directly, use u7buy.com and use the code TVM at checkout. What is going on, guys? TVM here. Welcome back to a brand new video, probably entitled something like, why have I never played with this card before? Wow. Let's talk about the key points, I suppose, before we enter the stats. 4-star, 4-star, right-footed, high attacking work rate, lean body type, exactly what you want. In terms of his traits, I mean, where do we start? Outside of the foot shot trait, fantastic, because he doesn't have a 5-star weak foot, so that's really good. Finesse shot trait, brilliant. Leadership trait, injury prone, those two don't really matter. He has a few CPU traits, but that again doesn't really matter unless you're playing career mode. So, the sort of starting point to this card, really good. Now, I'm on PC, so when I packed him and I looked at his price, a lot of people were a little bit confused. And if you're new to the channel, I play on PC. So PC prices, especially this time of year, are much higher than that of console because there aren't as many players on the PC version. So the PC price is 330 odd thousand coins, somewhere around there, and the console price is about 200, 220. So that's the price difference. I was a little bit more excited than perhaps you would be if you got them on the console, and that's why. So, 94 pace and acceleration, very, very good start. 91 agility, 89 balance can be improved with a Chem Style. Of course, we have done that. We'll get into that in a second. 93 reactions, 94 ball control, 93 dribbling, 90 composure. Good start. Are there better cards out there? On paper, yeah, of course there are. However, this is Royce, so he does have a little bit of that I don't know, that sort of satisfaction, really, of using Marco Reus. You know, he's that sort of big player. And back in FIFA 13, 14, his base card would have been a lot of money. Yeah, and that probably would have been one of the best cards throughout the entire year. Back in FIFA 13, you could use a 77 rated card from start to finish, which I'm glad you can't really do anymore because that would make the game very boring. But at the same time, it gave longevity and just a massive price boost to just base gold cards, really. So, for example, Royce in FIFA 13, if he was like 88 rated, for example, he would have a high price tag right from the start till the end. This year, for the last 3 or 4 years, hasn't really been the case. A rare gold card, even if he's Neymar, for example, will only hold a certain price for so long before he starts to come down, because then EA release, I don't know, 27 cards better than him in the first month of the game being released. In terms of his shooting stats, before we get into the clips here, we've got 95 shot power, 93 finishing, 96 positioning, 93 long shots. There'll be evidence of me scoring finesse goals, low-driven-esque finishes, near post, of course, because that is the most overpowered way to score in this FIFA. And, of course, there are a few other ways of scoring and sort of goals flying in all over the place here. And some assists as well. He's really good at getting in behind. Massive fan of his pace and his passing in particular, little 1-2s and triangles and things. In terms of Chem Styles you could use with this card, I did toy with Maestro, for example, but you don't get a balance boost. Toyed with the engine, you do get a massive balance boost, nice big agility boost, and the passing, of course, is refined up to 99. If you want my honest opinion, the engine is the way to go. But then again, of course, it is entirely up to you. Maestro is acceptable. Artist, I suppose you couldn't really go too wrong with an artist, because you do get that nice big agility boost, and the ball control and the dribbling go up, but then you don't get the pace boost, so the engine just makes more sense. That's what I went with. It just, yeah, it is what it is. So, I was massively impressed with this card, right? So with an engine, it goes up to a 98 rated cam. There aren't that many cards in the game, even with a Chem Style, you can get up that high rated. So A, very impressed with that, and B, really, really surprised I've not seen more people use this card. That is a big indicator, really, as to how good a particular card is how often you play against them. And I can probably count on one hand the amount of times I've played against Marco Reus in the last 6 months, because it's just not that many at all. Now, whether it's because he held a high price at one point and people were reluctant to spend it, or whether people just didn't consider him very good, but also he came out in and amongst the time where there were a lot of other good cards out. You know, Team of the Season was in full flow. I think this was it the second or third team, main team that came out. There was like the most consistent. Then the Premier League. I think the Bundesliga came after that, didn't it? Because it coincided with the league starting back up again. Normally it's the Serie A. They switched it. Was it Serie A? La Liga. And then they switched it around. I can't remember exactly, but either way. So, regardless of that, the price back in May when it first came out was around 1 million coins. It took until June to come down to around 600k, and it's only recently in sort of July that it's come down below 300,000 coins. So that's why, in my opinion, there's been a severe lack of this card in people's teams. It's just because of the price. Now that he's a lot more affordable, I think this could be, if you're still playing the game, of course. And if you're not still playing the game and watching essentially a Marco Reus player review, then I think you need a hobby. But if you are still playing the game, this could be a card to pick up, you know, because his ball control was fantastic. His positioning was very, very good. Despite me not boosting that finishing at all, he was still very good in front of goal with the Chem Style, or regardless of with the Chem Style, you can put a hawk on him for all I care, because that is another fairly acceptable Chem Style to chuck on this card. Because you do boost that strength, you get a little aggression boost, the jumping goes up, of course you still get that pace, you don't get the passing. But even without that passing, he's still very, very good and accurate, providing a camera angle is decent. And I'll talk about that briefly because I've mentioned it before, but I think I've only mentioned it once in a video. So, camera angles. If you're on a co-op camera angle, which I think is one of the most favourable camera angles to use this year, the reason that is because you can see nearly the whole pitch when playing, right? And it makes sense. I used it for a long time. However, I'm not a massive fan of using it now, and I've noticed that when you zoom in slightly, so I'm still on co-op, but I zoom in as much as I possibly can. But, well, actually, saying that, I'm not even sure if I am. I might be on default and zoomed out as much as I can be. Either way, I've noticed that the closer you are, the more accurate your passing is. Because if you're on co-op and you move your left stick, like directional wise, a little bit too far to the left, and it could be the most minute movement in that stick, because you're so far out, the game could think you're trying to go like all the way to the left, all the way to the right, and you just want to play a simple pass in front of you, but because your stick is slightly too far to the left, the angle is made far too big because you're zoomed out too much. If you're zoomed in, you've got a lot more error, if you will, in your aiming. So the angle for the pass is greater, and that just makes a lot more sense when you really think about it. You're like, actually, yeah. So when you're playing in co-op camera angle and you're wondering why passing is all over the place and it's just not going where you're aiming, it might be connection, sure, might be servers. However, it might be because the camera angle is just too far out and your aiming isn't quite accurate enough. And that's not your fault. It's just because the camera angle makes it almost impossible to get it right 100% of the time. So experiment a little bit. Maybe use a slightly more zoomed in camera angle. Maybe use co-op, but zoom in as much as you can. Turn the height up if you want. But yeah, just toy with camera angles. Anyway, not enough about camera angles. Royce's passing is brilliant. His dribbling's insane. I love his skills. His outside the foot shot trait is fantastic. Finesse shots are really nice. He's unbelievably quick. He is a fantastic card. So happy I've managed to pack him and finally play with him. It's just mad that I've not done it so far. Is there a player in the game that you've not seen me play with or review that you think I would really get on with and enjoy? If there is, feel free to pop him in the comments and maybe I'll do a video on him soon. If you have enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, of course, and until the next time, goodbye.
Football Index. The game changed. Download the app now.